Call a meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think I'd make a quick announcement to viewers that the votes were canvassed this morning, and the results are on the county website and our Facebook page. So. The stack of bills go. They're here. Okay. Okay. Everybody have a chance to see the meeting, the minutes from last week? Do they have any additions or corrections?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. That's 3-0. Public comment. I'm going to comment on behalf of the public. Thank you. Okay. Any commissioner comments and committee reports? Jack, you have anything?
Yeah, I do. I did attend the open house for Project Concern. They had done some painting and some carpet replacement. Very well attended. There was a lot of local business people there. Lots of their clients were there. By the way, they have it again. They serve a lot of good food. There was plenty of it. So next time you'll have to, everybody will have to take advantage of it.
I was going to be there, but I was homesick in bed. But I do have a meeting Thursday at Project Concern at Effingham. So
they were talking about having the meeting out there. So that was a good thing to do.
Yes.
I intended on going. I had one Thursday. I already had a meeting at 3 here. Got home 4. Did not have a chance to get back down just to go to the Project Concern. The meeting I did go to was the Ambulance Advisory Board, but I'm not going to give you too much since we got the man going to give us an update here. I'm going to let him fill you in. I don't think I've got anything over. Okay. Corey, go ahead.
Afternoon. Got the monthly report, call times report. Who doesn't have a copy?
I have a digital.
I've got one from
Okay. You don't want that?
Is it on the? Is it in the?
Yeah, it's in Michelle's email in the packet. Again, fortunately, no big surprises. Happy with the crew's performance. We're starting to see some trends now that we got some data and some information going across an entire year almost. Well, not entire year, but 3/4 of a year. So, very happy with their performance. Sheet time's up a tick, but still well below our stated goal. Our scene times are right at our stated goal. Very happy with my crew's performance. They're really doing a good job. So, any questions on anything that's in that?
So, have you thought about is there ways we could bring down the cost, Corey, in the next year or two? I think it's still the service is excellent.
Thank you.
Can we work on it? Is there any way we get the cost down? I think we had better estimates.
I think one thing we want to do going forward, and I think will help us in cost, is contracting fuel. As opposed to buying at market value and being at more of the whims of the market. I think that would help us a lot. Fuel's a big cost.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Do we do that to different departments? Or?
In the past, we had the road and bridge going with the county lake. I would like to see the sheriff go on, but he said that they can't do something, so he does his own thing. And now that we have an ambulance, I don't know why we don't throw as many together as we possibly can for savings for all.
And we'd be able to utilize, whatever central fueling location we could set up and contract with the vast majority of the time. The only reason we'd still need the cards is when the crews are a long ways away from home and need the fuel. We would still have to maintain that WEX system we're using. But the bulk of it, if we could contract fuel, I think that'd be one thing we could do right off the bat. If we could even just lump in with road and bridge, I think that would be a cost savings.
So this is something we want to do by the end of the year? Or?
It should be starting. We should be getting some numbers tabulated and starting from that what to bid.
Do we have the infrastructure to just start doing that? I mean, is there any way out there that Road and Bridge, do they have the equipment to be able to keep track of your consumption?
If the winning bid was, say, consumer, because they got their holding tanks, they got their car trouble things. Now, I don't know what's available at farmers at F&M if they have the same thing.
They've got a card, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to actually go to the Road and Bridge facility to fill up, do we have the means to keep track of that? Or
I would have to ask Seth what the means would be to have a bulk delivery as opposed to go to a central fueling location. I would have to talk to Seth. I don't know what he has available.
That was in my plan if we get some ground bought new road facility to have it set up for that. Like a car trouble, it would give you the car number and how much fuel, and then every quarter it could be, or every month it would be divided up between whose budget it comes out of.
And I can definitely coordinate with Seth on that and see what we could do in the short term even.
And if that's not feasible, if you could, if they would allow you to pre-price your fuel and be able to use it and have your cards. I mean, any location that would be willing to do that, I think it's worth looking into. Sometimes you don't know what the market trend's going to be. Maybe it's not going to be a huge savings from cash now, but if you think it's going to go work up, you can really try to forecasting that market's going to be tough. But it could go down too.
Yeah,
it would be handy to have a facility right there on your grounds, but I really can't see it.
I don't know that we burn enough fuel
to
in one department to justify that expense. I think it would have to be a consolidated effort amongst multiple departments to justify the equipment. The other thing I'd like to see going forward that would be a cost savings measure is starting to electronically track our inventory. Then I can see the trends of what medicines we're using more often, and we can change our purchasing habits and purchase smaller amounts that will still adequately meet the need. And right now we're just using the old paper method. But I'd really like to at some point. It's going to take a little bit of upfront cost, but have a better inventory tracking system to where when a crew uses a piece of equipment, especially disposable, they'll scan that and I'll see trends. And then I can say, okay, we're ordering way too much of this, not enough of this, and start being more targeted on what we actually purchase. And I think that would trend our costs downward, or at least control them better, if not going upward as much over the years.
Well, scanners are pretty expensive.
Yeah, and that technology is relatively affordable, and I have been researching some inventory control methods. And there is also some practical terms in that too, in that prescription medications are tracked more and more every year, and we'll have to adjust to that. So those things may serve a dual purpose in both tracking our inventory and our accountability for prescription meds.
And our rates for our services are almost told us by the insurance companies. They'll pay X amount of dollars.
To a degree, we do set the rates, but in the instances like Medicare and Medicaid, they're going to come back and say this is what we're going to pay. And to be members of those services, we have to adhere to what they offer us.
Well, nobody likes to pay more, but our rates too low.
We can investigate that. I think we're about in the middle of the road right now. We set them about dead national average. But it's something we're going to reevaluate year after year. Yep.
And I think we're not saying that this has to be a money-making thing because it's more or less a service.
But it needs to be fiscally responsible.
It needs to carry itself.
Yep. And along
we took some liability on with this. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Along those lines, a little bit of a late addition. Got a little cursory report, and it's not on there, so I'm going to go ahead and pass this one out. But of our expected returns, we billed right around 1.2 million and change so far. Actual cash in 242,757, but you know, you're always running 2 months behind. So the expected collections on what we have billed out right now, and then when we wrap up books at the end of the year, well, it won't be the end of the year. We'll be billing well into 2018 because you run calls to the last minute of 2017. But we expect once the books for 2017 are wrapped up, the projection is $731,867 and change based on the collections rate we're at right now. So that's exceeding the estimates.
That's exceeding like 231,000.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is out of $1.2 million we got billed, we're gonna lose 500,000. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what we expect to collect on what's out there right now. We expect to collect more, but I can't give you a solid projection because we don't know how many calls we're going to run in the next 2 months.
Top is total bill, $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then this, I presume, total. So you add the 7.3 and the 4.8 together?
No. The 731,000 is the projection for the total of 2017. Monies in hand is 242,757. At the rate we're going, plus adding in the collections that we've turned over to Mr. Waring, we're at 489,000 expected from what's billed now. But there's a lot outstanding out there right now. There's things that have been billed that we haven't seen any return on yet. So,
but you're saying for 2017, even though it's much into 18, we're expected to get 731,000.
Correct.
For fiscal year, well, it would be 11 months basically.
Yeah, January 31st through December 31st at the rate we're collecting.
And that's quite a bit higher than what we estimated at budget time, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I expected to have more cash in hand at this point. I really did.
Okay.
But what we've run into is a learning curve. And the learning curve is we started a new EPCR software, which is our reporting software that none of us had ever used, including myself, because it's the state's free service. And we've been slower than we expected on getting the chart audits done and getting the reports accurate enough to build. The other thing is learning the MetaPoint software and getting that process started. So we've hit a learning curve. I wanted to be within a week of when the call goes out to when they're building, and we're really at about 4 weeks. But that gap is closing as we get better at this.
30 days, so we're out 2 months.
30 days, 60 days, yeah. But we're gaps closing, so I'm very encouraged about the fact that we're getting better at this. But there was a larger learning curve than I expected when we started so many new people, so much new software all at once, and it took a minute to get a rhythm to it. So.
And there was some gaps with the insurance companies that were
especially Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah,
we had a big gap there,
which was one of our biggest, probably the biggest.
It is the biggest private insurance company we deal with.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But we're getting better. That's the key. We're not regressing, and we're closing the gap. So
anything to report on Andrew Waring's collection process?
It has been turned over. The first batch of things has been turned over to him. It definitely stirred the pot. We've been getting a lot of phone calls. People have been bringing their insurance cards to us. I know he's been getting a lot of phone calls. So I'm encouraged that process is working. But as far as to give you any numbers, we're only 1 week into it. I don't have any solid
just got it
numbers.
over to him.
Yep.
Along those lines, I have the final contract that still needs to be signed. Both of them. So,
Okay.
if you want to take that up now.
Well, it's timely, so maybe we should.
The two with the metal clips on them are the two I'd like to get signed, and then there's with staples, so the copies for the 3 of you.
And that's what's that now? Oh, this one's
He's original. He wants these signed. We'll get back to him, and those are just copies. Yeah.
We've been through them back and forth a few times, and I sent it to Corey a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my copy.
You had a chance to look over it?
Yep. Pretty much exactly what we talked about.
Do you feel comfortable with it?
Yes.
I'd make a motion to authorize Commissioner Knoll to sign on behalf of the county. for a collection agreement between Atchison County Ambulance Service and the Warring Law Office, LLC.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to accept this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Pass 3-0.
No, I need to get those.
Look at this one here. And where does this go?
Give it to Jack. I kind of laid through it. That's
Oh, okay. Since we're kind of in that timely talking about this, the Ambulance Advisory Committee had met and agreed to continue meeting as such, although we'll probably go to quarterly meetings. And with their agreement to keep on, we need to have a vote to reestablish them, or is that the correct word? To reestablish the Ambulance Advisory Board. Do I hear a motion to do so?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That's 3-0.
Do we need to make note that the one lady from the hospital is getting replaced by somebody else on the advisory board?
Well, it's not by name.
It's not that big.
No, the way
They're still represented.
yeah, the way it's worded, it just says the hospital will have a representative. It doesn't say that it has to be named. Some of the other positions on the board are much more specific. So they voted during that meeting to accept Colin Richards, who is the nurse manager for the ER and med-surg at the hospital. I think that's a good appointment. Mr. Richards and I already have a great working relationship. We have a back and forth. We communicate at least weekly. So I think he's an asset. Not to mention he's a former paramedic and firefighter, so he has experience in these particular matters. So I think he's a good appointment.
Wes had mentioned before, I guess this was during your advisory board, that at the time when the hospital calls you, you're not sitting out there waiting. When they call you within 5 or 10 minutes, that patient's ready to be moved.
Yeah,
on.
we really
Pretty
manage
bad.
that very well. I can't say 100% of the time we don't have a 30 or 45 minute wait. But
It's a lot better.
Yeah, it's better, but I would say I'd have to actually run the numbers. I haven't run that number because it hasn't been an issue. But usually within, and you can see scene time on transfers is 17.93 minutes. So they're not calling us way ahead of time. They're calling us within 20 minutes when that patient's ready to go. So it hasn't been an issue with them at all. Not to say it doesn't happen. And there's times when you get up there and the patient's status changes and you end up waiting a little bit. The key for us is with that system status move ups we're doing and with the callback feature, we're not leaving the county uncovered because that truck's just sitting out there. So they're available for 911. And since we're doing the transfer program on nights and weekends the way we are, there's a third person back at the station anyway. So it really hasn't come up as an issue at all. And then during the day with Lydia and I here, there's no problem. So
I don't recall, but 18 new ambulance to rebuild or
19.
18 were good for 18.
Yeah, no ambulance scheduled for 18. Want to replace some equipment through 18 with the capital outlay that we put out, capital improvement we put out there. So even had a meeting today via Skype with a company that makes simulators that simulate our monitors, and we can program and allow a trainer to actually run simulations through these. We've been wanting to get more simulators so we can do more in-house training. And a traditional rhythm generator, which mimics the heart, and we can program it to do different things, plus a mannequin, is going to be in the $35,000 to $40,000 range. This company offers this on iPads that look exactly like our monitors for more, depending on the options we choose, somewhere in the $9,000 to $15,000 range. So we're exploring ways that we can bring more training in-house, but do it in a more cost-effective, more technologically advanced manner than we had in the past. So I had a meeting with them today. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards 18 is equipment, things we need to get better. So 19 on a new ambulance. Also still looking at the USDA grants and all we can to cheapen that ambulance up as much as possible because we are slated for new because the one we're replacing has been reboxed once before.
The one that we just had done, is it holding up well? I mean,
Yeah.
is it good?
Yeah, being a remount, some of the parts in it were old and we've had to fix a couple little details on it. The company's been very supportive, no problems. Absolutely happy with that. The crews are happy with it.
I think the second rebox turned out nicer than the first one.
It was definitely done much better. Let's just put it out there the way it is. I'm very happy with this company's work. The paint's immaculate. The attention to detail is better. It was cleaned up nicer. It's got better equipment on it, as far as lighting and that goes. A lot better attention to detail on this company.
Is this the one I saw one at Effingham the other day, and it has a window on the right side? Is that?
Yeah, that's the Reebok.
That's the one, because I hadn't noticed that before. I'm going like, well, normally there's a big decal there, and it's off to the side.
That's the way that one was, and because we used the existing box that we had, would have cost about $3,000. I said to delete that window, so it stayed.
The window's fine. It just looked. I mean, it struck me. I don't know why. Maybe it's with the new decal.
It does look a lot different than the other three with that window on the side. There's no doubt. It's not symmetrical.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm very happy with that. That truck turned out really nice. So, and the crews are very happy with it.
Okay. Well, anything else?
All right.
Corey did a good job. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Corey,
Yes, sir.
you and Seth are going to get together on their fuel. You mentioned it.
That's what I'll get talk to you this afternoon when we get out of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Come on up, Seth.
Got about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, we can go through these POs then. Okay. There's a PO here for the roller, it's payable to Foley Cat in the amount of $48,229.90. That is the balance between what we owe when rent, correct? And this will be purchased to be purchased.
I see they were in town today. You talked to them? Thought there was a Foley truck down across from their ice cream sandwich by the old fire station.
No, it wasn't me.
Okay, so this is there's a different price back here. It's 50. So
Correct. That price is with the last month's rent.
okay. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept
So which number are we approving?
$48,229.90?
Okay. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Passed 3-0.
So with the new spray oil laydown truck, the new chip spreader, and the new roller, we should have the chip and seal covered pretty good. Or is this
This
more
roller
asphalt?
for us.
More asphalt. Well, we got a new laydown machine, so that ought to be covered as well.
Everything in that sort is updated.
Now that we're getting all this new equipment, we got sheds to put them under, or as much as ever
As
we
much as
can.
we can, everything. Sometimes not all the newer equipment's underneath cover, but we're out of room on most of it, so. We can use another buy 100 shop to store everything in, but we don't
Well,
need
with
that.
few
Right.
kids, not that far out, it'd be good to do it now. Hopefully.
Okay. Then we have PO for a culvert, large culvert. It's 120 inches by 85 feet, aluminized culvert with band to Wellborn Sales Inc. in the amount of $13,252.60. Do I have a motion to
You've
accept it?
compared them about their all thickness because they went from 13 to 25 or 6, but the next one's 19.
I told them 10 gauge. One couldn't even do the 10 gauge, and they quoted me what they could quote. So everything was supposed to be cross board unless they couldn't, and they were going to try to be comparative. So
I make a motion to go with Wellborn in the amount of
$13,252.60. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 3-0.
Thank you.
On this, the next one here is the refer. It says copper naphthenate. Is that the treatment? That's the treatment. Okay, I've never heard of that term. NAPHTHENATE.
That's just the treatment they use to preserve the wood.
It used to be creosote. But now,
Yeah.
Okay. We have another PO to Wheeler Lumber for bridge planks. It'd be 96 bridge planks that are 3 inch by 12 inch by 16. Number 1, full rough Douglas fir bridge planks in an amount of $9,648.96. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
a second.
It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Want to move?
No. They are no longer. I don't think they're closed. Pass 3-0.
That was all in.
Okay, we skipped something last month. What was
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the tube. Well,
Or
no,
last week.
the roller.
The roller, yeah, we skipped it.
We talked about the tube, but we didn't. We wanted to investigate that further, which we did.
Okay, now, we got the tube bought, and then we'll be getting bids from whoever.
And we could attempt, but we'd have to go rent 2 different machines. It's just easier for us to contract that.
That is a large tube.
It's gonna take a couple days to get done.
That is a large project. I was amazed. It don't look like it would be that long a tube, but when the first day I stopped there and I started pacing that thing off, and then I got down and walked through it. You know, when you walk through and don't that much over your head, and the whole bottom was rusted out from end to end.
You could walk through and not get wet because everything was underneath it.
You was up here earlier this morning in the workshop, and you'd mentioned 286 had so many bad culverts, so you're gonna get a price. So now we're thinking about just doing from Atchison to Lancaster, but doing it right, doing new tubes.
We'll see what that costs.
And probably you may have to go back to doing it ourselves, a 2 inch overlay, because of the cost of the tube. Are you still looking at the grinding it off?
I don't think we'll grind it. I think we'd probably better look at just doing a 2 inch overlay over it. With the fact that, you know, there's shoulder work that needs to be done. 2 extra inches on top of that's not going to hurt anything. We might even have to cut it back from, you know, the city limits to Morton Road or something, depending on how many culverts are in there and what it's going to cost to tear those out and replace them. So we might end up having to scale it back to be a 4-year project or something instead of just a 2-year.
Yeah, I would rather cut it down, but do what we do right.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we have, you know, last.
I mean, everything revolves on if the water drains off. So if those culverts are bad, the roads are bad. So those have to be fixed before we do anything major.
That a year or so ago, we put in that tube right west of Tony Jackson's.
Correct.
And then we put a patch over that, but that is still rough. Is that
it's
flexing
still
or
settling?
is
That's
sponging?
why I don't like. Soon after, I don't like putting asphalt on top. I like it to settle in. It all depends on how wet the material is it goes in, how well it's compacted. I mean, they could have compacted it every 12 inches, but if it didn't have any moisture in it, dry material doesn't pack as well as wet material.
I mean,
So
that,
we did get some settling. It did sit for a little while. It could have just been the way they patched it, but I understand it still is rough and needs to be repaired.
I mean, that was really surprising me because I went over that with my semi quite often there, and it is rough. And I would, every time I hit that and would feel that, it's like I hope that's not flexing that tube or something.
The tube's covered. I mean, it's just the material, the asphalt.
But I haven't seen the asphalt's not breaking up. I mean, the patch. I mean,
I think it's just the way the patch. When they patched it, they probably got low in a spot of the machine dropped or dipped. And so.
okay, just so you're aware
Yes.
of what's going on. Okay, are we ready with our
Right.
bid opening?
We only had 2 bids. One was from Martin and one was from Marlette Construction. This is for the 326 bridge replacement. Replacement with 2 6-inch culverts.
6-inch.
6 foot by 50 foot. Martin Construction, $32,455. Marlette Construction, $16,780.
What?
That it was Martin throwing the tube in there.
We provide the tubes and they just demo their old
There got to
bridge.
be somebody's messed up. You better.
I can chat with them both.
Say
But
that
they both
figure
got the
again.
same specs and everything. So
Say that figure again. 16,000.
780.
Oh wait, I wrote down 10.
This would be that far.
No, there's.
I'm not saying that I want Martin to do a job, but in the past, Martin usually beats him. And to have that much, somebody's.
Well, they've been in the same ballpark.
But they were both sent the same.
I can send you the specs.
So if there is a mistake on Martin, we can't.
No, but if there is something wrong, we want them.
Yeah,
We need to identify a problem if there's a problem. That's what I'm saying.
but if we don't accept the bid as a 130, aren't we doing I don't know what the right word we wouldn't be doing more right there either.
The Marlette says culvert replacement.
But
Martin says bridge.
Well,
Replacement.
it's
I
replacing
realize
the
it's
bridge
one
with a
side.
culvert.
I understand.
So I think it's just how they want to determine.
you're replacing the bridge, and the other one is saying they're putting in a
You can
culvert.
consider this bridge as a box
Did you give
culvert.
the specs for the culvert?
Correct. They both have the same thing. So
Same materials?
Something else. It is not
it's up to
law,
the-
So if we did it,
Yeah, we can't.
I don't think we can.
So do I hear a motion for
I so moved, Mr. Chairman, to go with Marlette's an amount of
$16,780?
Yes. So second?
Been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pass 3-0.
Now, the next time you see us, you might say, hey, no, you were.
I would contact them first and just say, there was a big discrepancy. Normally we're in the same ballpark. That way, it don't look like, if there was a mistake, or I can't envision what it would be, but
I know the last bid we had, similar thing is, I believe it was opposite.
yeah.
So
Oh, yes.
it's hard to tell. But I will speak with
Maybe
Austin.
Martin's super busy and Marlette's got some
You
slack
keep this?
time.
That's $17,000 off.
That's true.
It's more than
Well,
double.
also,
I think I got the
Martin's been
amounts.
getting the last 4 or 5 projects, and Marlette and I said, maybe we need to be a little more aggressive to get some business back.
Either one are great companies on file.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
we're good.
yes.
And really these bids, I put them out where, they basically got to do the quantities that they need and everything like that. So it's up to them to decide how much rock they need, what the elevations are there. So that's all up to them to decide on that. So, yeah, I think Marlat's got a pretty decent price on it. That seems reasonable on that. So I will contact them both and I'll check with Austin and make
So
sure.
that makes the total project around 30 grand.
I don't know what the culverts were.
Oh, I thought that was the culvert.
No, the culverts that were purchased were clear back from that.
Oh,
year, so
okay.
we've had those in stock. They're ready to go.
Okay.
As soon as Marlet's ready to go, we'll deliver them. And
I
No,
know
you haven't put out the bid yet for the one where we just purchased the two.
correct. No, I'll wait until I get a lead time on that.
I noticed the other day when I was going to Muskota to order my sequel, he was hauling a bunch of dirt out there. Is that to get some dirt built up for the landfill in Effingham? Are we covering up more?
Correct. We were helping the transfer station out by hauling dirt for them.
Now, where's that dirt coming from?
That dirt was coming from the Atchison landfill site and going to the Effingham site. So they asked if they could have 2 trucks for 2 days to haul some dirt to get caught up. So we worked together on that one. We had that done, so.
All right, okay. Anything else?
Yeah, those POs were that take on them.
I think I handed them back to
I
you.
believe you have them.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I got them. Sorry. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth. Okay. We'll take care of both appointments at the same time. Is there any new business before the board?
Only that let's keep this ball rolling about our bonds and
Oh, we should ask him. Why don't I have him step back in here? Because he was going to get with, just see if what the update was.
because we're bad about getting something started and then the first thing you know it's 6 months later. Because this is going to take time to put this together too. You know, spring will be here and it's time to have everything put into place.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's already Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
It was just budget time. Let's see when we're going to have the next election. I mean, I know they can't wait in the clerk's office. The next election.
I wonder if she ever decided on her equipment yet, do you know? She talked about having one more person come in or something.
I think she was wanting maybe Josh King with Election Source, I believe that's the name, to come in and just demo, mainly more for us. But as far as I know, she hasn't made any actual decisions
She
yet.
needs to be doing that too.
I think she's looking at it, but I think she's just focusing on her levies and everything right now, so that way we can get the tax statements out.
Seth said that he hasn't came back yet. Remember, he had a health problem or something when he was off. So he's going to come back in a week or so. I think he said 2 weeks. And they're going to go through the rest of those, and then we can kind of figure out.
If we keep progressing.
Yeah. I knew there was something else that was wanting to tell him. I didn't put it on my iPad. So.
I don't even see the iPad there. You got a blue folder. I got a blue iPad.
MePad.
MePad.
Okay. Any old or unfinished business? We're going to have to stall till the council gets back. Councilor updates. Let's see.
Is he talking to himself?
Yes.
I don't know if you read it here about the recycle going to China. 30%.
No, I haven't.
They're getting more particular about the quality of the recycling. I didn't realize 30% of recycling is exported to China.
Well, that's basically what dovetails.
They brought that up down there, and I
Solid
said,
waste.
if there's so much demand, why is the recyclable price going up? They said it's more or less. I said, did we tell them what we want, or they tell us what they give? And they said they tell us what they give. China said they'd take it all, or didn't want to mention that, or
Well, they want it all, but they're getting more particular with the sorting, and
yes.
so.
Well, a lot of this is in Washington and Oregon, so they don't have to go overland. And there's so many ships, containers coming in. Sometimes they have to send them back empty. So you can ship it back to them pretty cheap. But from here, you'd have to go overland first.
And they said another problem is they may open a container and there might be one little thing in there and they can refuse the whole load.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem.
Well, that's with, I think, even when we ship meat or anything, we'll find one brome fragment in there, the whole load is contaminated, they won't take it away. So that becomes a huge liability. Did we want to go over our, with the city-county meeting, what we want to talk about.
Yeah, you should get some bullet point on the agenda.
I've got economic development, possible shared engineer, and did somebody mention nuisance properties?
I did. I think the city and the county need to have somewhat of a plan that we're kind of on the same page. Because is the property out on Cumberland Club Road, is that the city's or is that all?
That is just outside the city.
Oh, that's just outside. Well, we need to get aggressive.
It's a
on
little ways outside.
that. Okay.
So is there anything that we could, talk about on that with the city, or is that something that's just,
We do ours and they do theirs. And
Well, we have a little different rules. They have a lot more specific rules than we have.
do you think it's crucial enough to bring up at the city county meeting or scratch it?
That wouldn't hurt anything. We have done sort of that entry corridor from Bungie on into to K.S.A, that area. There are on the south side of the road, there are a couple of properties that probably need to be addressed.
Those are the cities, right?
Well, some of them are and some of them aren't, because I think they were waiting to annex them because we were doing some of the nuisance abatement on them.
I'd love to see us address that 59 corridor. It makes our community look like we're.
I've had compliments though that
a
lot of it's been cleaned
It
up.
has been improved. There's no
Yes,
question
But it
about
could be better.
Yes.
I think we need to take the next step.
Okay.
And if people can't fix it, maybe we've got to help them somehow. Get in there and maybe Project Atchison or something wants to hop in as a person to help them.
Well, yeah. I was
If
gonna
they're
say,
physically not able to do it or something.
well, they'd have to request it have to come from the landowner if it's private
Sure,
property.
absolutely,
So that's where you.
I think that'd be too big a project.
Is there any other topics? City, county.
Sales tax and whether to go with a percentage or a lump sum. And is that?
I just put interlocal agreement in regard to distribution of sales tax.
I would
stuff on
specify.
a
I would
percentage.
write sales tax and then sit back and listen to how they feel it is. Get their take on it before we comment.
1 cent sales tax discussion? Is that topic enough?
I think it is. We just tell them we want an interlocal agreement, and they want to. Evidently, we don't have it interlocal.
Well, they
Do not. We had one that was only for a single year, and then we don't have a long-term one.
they have a resolution that they're paying, or it was a 10-year resolution.
But it's not an agreement. It's just their statement. We don't have agreement with the other cities.
Partnership and up on an engineer.
Yes, shared engineering.
So you got that down there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They could probably use one, and we could use one. They don't need a full time, and we don't need a full time. So we could work together. I think that's a good thing.
No, they do have a full time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, then they
The
might.
engineers can tell you he's busy all the time.
Oh yeah, they're all.
Okay,
They may be interested. They may not.
I'm trying to think if there's something
and
else.
that's something that can be ongoing. If I think of something in the next week or so, we can go back to. Pat, did you have any new business or old business, or we'll just go right into? Okay.
There was something else though with the city.
Do we go together like on salt? Is there any savings there if we combine our order supplies, or if you don't specify the salt, you say supplies?
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Some of my notes back here, I have discussion the alley between the school and the courthouse. Is that something we wanted to talk about, or did we resolve that this alley right back here needed?
I was told that's on school property.
It's a platted alley. There's a reason why they're not building alleys in the new places. Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt to discuss it.
If you have some city residents down there, and that subject brought up, they're gonna chime in because some of the alleys are getting back to. And I don't believe the city has a maintenance.
They have a cost share program.
Oh, do they?
But they just redid the alleys behind the hardware store. Maybe the other side of it, commercial. But a lot of those are alleys are used like streets. So
Oh, yeah, they're going to do something else. You got anything else, City County?
Yeah. City County. I can't think of. I can't think. There was something I know there's something we're missing. Okay. But if I think of it,
we want to talk about growth in the county, but that's because of their economic development. But how we get growth done, working together. That probably falls under the economic development.
Yeah, that's where I think that would fall.
Did we ever come up? I guess are we going to go with Mars? Are we going to go with anybody or on economic development? Because they was leaning Mars. It wasn't Mars. Mark.
I don't know. We haven't been invited to Mark. We have to go ask and see.
They gave us a sauce last year.
And then Becky liked your idea of giving us a free year and see what you do. And
they haven't been back,
but they haven't been back.
Well, I think you got to tell them you're not coming back.
Well, we haven't paid. I mean,
No.
I would think that there's.
I would have thought they'd been back now. Wanting to know.
I thought the ball was in their court. That was a proposition,
It was. He was going to check and get back with us.
So that would be. Should we put that as a separate topic, or?
I don't know if that'd go under economic development.
Well, I'd say that could be a subtopic.
Yeah.
And that was with MoCan.
It was with MoCan, or are we going to go with Mark?
And when we're done at the Kansas Association, the county meetings, maybe we should talk to counties how they're doing economic development. Mm-hmm. Do they have a county-wide economic development officer? Is that something we want to think about? And then, city doesn't have an economic development person. I mean, basically the city manager and Becky and Justin have been doing that, but maybe we got something to talk about again.
Well, we know our housing isn't great. We know the crime rate and the unemployment, but we also have the river and the railroad, and that ought to stimulate. That ought to outweigh our housing and our.
We're also close to the airport.
Yes. Yes. That ought to. We ought to be getting some more interest in what we're getting. I would think. I don't know.
I think when we think of economic development, we only think about industry, factories.
Big.
And I think hitting home runs is not likely, but hitting some singles, and maybe some of those are the new, quoting a terminology today, new paradigm where businesses are going to be more data-driven, more technical-driven.
You'd think with the pipe plant being there and the equipment being there, that somebody, they could promote it to somebody to come in there and start that. They're going to want to give 10 cents on a dollar, but having somebody there.
The employment would.
Oh, yes.
That would be huge if we could fill the capabilities we have here. If we could get them going again, would be tremendous.
If they're out looking.
I think they have their own financial challenges. The company owns it. So the thing is, there is a change in the price of oil. Mm-hmm. It's nice for the gasoline prices for us individually. Higher oil means more production. Mm-hmm. So which would mean more equipment.
If they're set up for one type of pipe, but I would think a lot of those facilities could be, even if some outfit could buy them and utilize the facilities that are there, but maybe make plastic pipe or make different things. They could utilize the factory and the property and the labor force. So that's a wish of mine. If they diversified into plastic pipe, say, then you wouldn't be reliant on the oil because, we rose and fell on the price of oil with the pipe that they were building.
So I remembered what it was. It's an agreement on placement of our radio equipment on the water tower. We don't have any written agreement about that. And I don't know whether we pay rent for that or.
It's fairly cheap. There's nothing in writing. It's kind of a good old boy. Yeah, you can use it. We probably need to have something.
What would you call that equipment? Would be our
Radio.
911 radio.
Joint communications.
Joint communication. There's more than 911.
Okay.
That's something we're going to have to get with payers so they can send it to the city. To give the
Yes, I'm writing notes for Michelle, and I'm going to write them out.
But again, this is a contract for the waste, solid waste hauling for PMs.
You got another copy?
I didn't make enough copies. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
well,
don't
I
know
guess-
if you want to.
Here's a staple copy, and I've got 2 here that are due for signing. I take it.
Yes,
okay.
There was quite a bit of back and forth on there. There are 2 things I think that are a little different than what we had talked about. And just for clarification, the original contract draft that came had a 3% cost of living adjustment each year, and that seemed unreasonable to me because it hasn't been 3% for a few years, and so that's changed. I think on page 2, but it just has a cost of living, and it's got a citation or it defines the factor that we'll use to determine it. It does not have a cap on it, 3%, and it's one of the things Stacy and I were discussing. That I think when we had discussed it at that presentation, it was a maximum of 3% per year. This does not have a maximum in it. Although I could see if we're, instead of putting 3% per year, we're going to go with the actual, and it's lower than 3%, it's probably fair to go with the actual if it happens to be above 3%. It seems somewhat unlikely. I don't know if that's a matter that you think we ought to go back and negotiate.
Well, what does it say now?
Just, it's a cost of living adjustment. There's a through the Department of Labor, BLS standards, all cities.
So that's been around 2.1, 2.2%.
Where's that at? You said page 2.
Yeah, I don't have a copy open.
There's 2 of these. So if you take,
I don't think it's on page 2.
it says cost of living.
Yeah. Page 2,
Oh, yeah.
subsection A.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Okay, so the CPI is the route that we get to who is saying what the rate will be. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is the figure.
That's been around, what, 2.5?
well, I'm just looking that up. I'm not smart enough to read this. Here's the percentage change. 2016 it was 1.3, 2015 it was 1.1, or it was 0.01. No, it was 0.1, 1.6% in 14. In 2011 it was 3.2%. It was 3.8% in 2008. I don't see that it's been higher than 3% very often.
So this verbiage in here, does that say the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, U.S. city average for all items? Does that verbiage reflect that is where we're getting the figure that we used for the?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm fine with doing it that way. I just want to make sure that it's spelled out correctly.
The second point that we had discussed had to do with notice of termination of the agreement. And that is paragraph
14 on
14
page 5.
on page 5. It originally had a 365-day notice. 180 was the least that they were willing to go down to. So it's a question of, in 2023, we want to rebid this, or we want to maybe just negotiate, see if we could informally see what's out there and maybe decide to renew for another year. And it would go on an annual basis. Charlie Sedlock is the person that gave the presentation, the person I've been talking to. He told me that most of their contracts are just 1-year renewals. They have a term at the beginning and then they're 1-year renewals. And he said we've got some that are 20 years old that are on 1-year renewals. What he hopes that we get to as well. So, but that wasn't something that we had talked about in the earlier meeting. So, you could either approve this and go ahead and execute, or you could put it off a week. I did give it to Stacy several days ago. She's reviewed it. We've discussed it. She cannot come on Mondays because of personnel out there on Mondays. But she's in agreement with it.
I'd like to have her here before.
Just put it on the agenda for next Tuesday and table it.
Yeah, I'd actually like to read through it. I know we've read through it.
Just go ahead and keep those.
Yeah, let it keep the originals.
Yeah, there's
I'll
nothing
leave
special
it.
except they're not stated.
I'm going to put one in here, and then me losing both of them.
One,
And I will take one home and. Okay. Thank you. That's probably better because I was reading that. And you'll look very good. So, did you get Stacy then for next? Have her on the.
Right. Do you want me to call her and set up what time works for her, or do you want me to set her up for like 1:05?
Say what works best.
What works best for her?
Yeah, if she had right off the get-go, then probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and she'd go on.
Shouldn't. It's nothing that we've got that I see any disagreement that I think she would be.
I think she needs to have some input on it.
Okay. Do you have any other updates?
Well, on the tax sale, why I was gone this morning for a while, Roger is working on a Microsoft Access database that would be helpful. CIC, our computer system, it looks like they've changed the output that we used to get. They did an upgrade or an update. We don't get quite as much info that we could find, but I think he's looking at it. I think I think he'll be able to fix it without getting that additional info from CIC.
And this is to identify the properties, or is this?
Identify the properties, prepare the petition as well, and then keep track of service of process. He's not helping with identifying the properties.
I think we've already done that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Executive session for anything?
I'm not aware of anything.
Any other business, or do I hear a motion to adjourn at 2:02?
I make a motion to adjourn at 2:02.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Pass 3.
So that